Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Hessman?
Here.
Councilor Quiller?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Duran?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Councilor Cross is excused this evening. If you are able, I invite you all to rise and all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. There's one small change to the agenda for this evening with council's concurrence. I would like to go ahead with a special order of business to make the presentation for the volunteer of the quarter. And this is for our good friend, Tony Grove. His daughter, Anne-Marie, is here tonight. And I'm not going to put her on the spot except to accept this. So I'm going to instead read the nomination that I put in form, if I can get that form up here real quick. There it is. So at the beginning of May, there was a special event called Free Comic Book Day. It was on May the 4th, of course. It's Star Wars Day. And the line around the building spoke to how much people in this community love and care about and appreciate Tony Grove, who for 17 years ran that store and had announced he was retiring. I got there a couple hours after it started, and the food barrel for the Keizer Community Food Bank was already overflowing to the point where they had to call the truck to come and get all the food that had been donated by so many people in our community. But this is just one small part of what Tony Grove did for so many in our community. He used his store as an opportunity for kids and adults who often felt disenfranchised, who felt that they really didn't have a space, and they had a space at Tony's Kingdom of Comics. He worked hard to provide for so many different charities. It wasn't just the Keizer Community Food Bank, although he's been an absolute Star Wars champion, and I do have one exciting announcement to go with that. He also had the Princess Leia Foundation, Toys for Tots, the Magic Wheelchairs. Many different artists got a chance to get their start and to show what they had in the community. If he encouraged so many punks at the park that he's been encouraging in these last few years as well. Personally, he was a great friend and a person I can just go visit with about all things nerd. It was wonderful. Tony Grove then passed away very suddenly, a couple of weeks later. And all of us who were there on May 4th were ever so grateful that we were there, not realizing that we'd be not just saying goodbye to the store, but may the force be with you, to a very dear friend. So it is with the permission of Anne-Marie, I went ahead and I finished the Volunteer of the Quarter nomination, knowing we'd be presenting it to her and her family. But I felt it was a small way that we could say thank you to Tony, to all of his friends, his biological family, his nerd family, his community family. That has he meant so much to all of us. Anne-Marie is here tonight, and I'm not going to make her talk if she doesn't want to, but I do want to present to her Volunteer of the Quarter for her dad, our beloved friend, Tony Grove. I'll come around. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I announce about the Advice Corner?
Yes, you can.
I will.
That's so cool.
So at Saturday's Celebration of Life, a wonderful announcement was made by Punks with a Purpose who have secured a location in Salem. And in that location, for providing services, support, opportunity for our youth and young adults, there will be Tony's Corner, a place where they know they can get food and they can get the essentials that they need. And people can donate in Tony's memory and keep that legacy of caring for one another going at Tony's Corner at Punks with a Purpose. So thank you for Haley and her crew for starting that and keeping the good times going with for Tony Grove. So thank you. We will now go from a galaxy far, far away to work right here in our city, and we'll go to committee reports, and we will start off with the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommendation for appointments to the Keizer Public Arts Commission. Ms. Bissett.
The Volunteer Coordinating Committee met on June 13th and interviewed applicants for the Keizer Public Arts Commission. They're recommending that council reappoint Deborah Sisko to position number 7 and Catherine Klein for the 2024-2025 school year.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions about the recommendations from the Volunteer Coordinating Committee? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council accept the recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint Deborah Sisko to position number 7 of the Keizer Public Arts Commission for a term expiring June 30th, 2027, and appoint Catherine Klein as Youth Committee Liaison to the Keizer Public Arts Commission for the 2024-25 school year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the recommendation of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and appoint Deborah Sisko to position number 7 of the Keizer Public Arts Commission for a term expiring June 30th, 2027, and appoint Catherine Klein as Youth Committee Liaison to the Keizer Public Arts Commission for the 24-25 school year. Any discussion? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to reiterate that these two are both returning members to the Keizer Public Arts Commission, and they have done some excellent work in the committee thus far, and we are excited to have them back.
Thank you very much. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. That's Councilor Cross. Congratulations and thank you to the volunteers for another term of service. We now have committee reports, and we have 2 people signed up for the Public Arts Commission. That would be Lori Christopher and Kat Thorson. So it's up to whoever you want. It's Kat. All right, Kat it is.
That's a nice sign you have up there.
Indeed.
Good afternoon. I'm Kat Thorson, Keizer. I am here to read the notes from the last time that we met. No?
Just pull it up close, make sure.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to read the notes from the last time we met, which was the 18th. Everyone was present except for Marilyn Wood was absent, Kim Steen, and we also have one additional open position right now. So we approved the May minutes, and then for other business, we talked about updating our draft, the draft brochure that we have for the Art Walk, which is a guided tour through all the artworks in Keizer. There's been quite a change just in the last year that I've been here, so we felt like that was needing to be updated. So we're working on that, and we also are going, have plans to make a wrap. We're starting these utility wraps, make a rack card for that with additional information for those utility boxes. Since there'll be a series of those, we thought that would be nice to have an additional, some communication on that as that develops. Let's see. And unrelated, we wanted to, Councilor Reed would like to see a thank you note to the Keizer Community Foundation on the city's website. We had a discussion about the stipend payments to the River Road artists and the city, and that the city would be reimbursing those stipends. Additionally, Counselor Reed will be talking with Assistant City Manager Tim Wood about getting the website set up. Laura Christopher said that Fernando Lopez was working on getting the artist info for the website. Any questions on that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I questioned this, so I was kibitzing a little bit with Councilor Reed. You said about reimbursing the stipends. We budgeted for the stipends in our transient occupancy tax budget page this year, so I'm not understanding, or is that for the next year? And we're going to pay for it out of TLT. Mr. Wood, Mr. Brown?
Madam Mayor and Council, I think, so the foundation already paid them for the coming year, so we would be reimbursing them. That's why she said it that way.
Okay, and then going forward, that's something that the city now can go ahead and assume the cost. Thank you. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, and then the next thing that we talked about was the Cold Wet Eagle sculpture, and we had previously had a request from a citizen to change the name of the statue. And so the artist came, I'm scanning for his name, Jim Johnson. That's what I thought. Jim Johnson came and he was, said that we could change the name if we wanted to, and that he was happy that, he was happy to speak with us. So he said that we could name it anything we wanted to. And then Laura Christopher noted that the community resonated with the statue and the commission feels privileged to have the statue. She stated that a resident requested another name. Deborah Cisco loved the name, and she said it speaks to the tunes. And then Councilor Reed shared that the team respects the name, and it was only one resident who had asked the council about changing the name. So she would ask that person if he's interested in submitting a petition to the city council to have the name changed.
Okay.
So
And was there a recommendation for another name, or just, I'm a little,
If I might.
I'll go to Councilor Reed and then I'll go to Mr. Brown.
So when he first came to council, we told him to go to KPAC. He did have a couple of names that he kind of threw out there, and I did talk to him, and basically said, this is, we would like to see if other people are interested, in addition, come with some suggested names, so that is part of that process
Okay.
at this point.
Thanks, Laura. Our next item on the list was the 2024 Holiday Card Contest award presentations. We agreed to have the award and gift card to be presented in November at the city council meeting. We also are going to discuss it on our October agenda to confirm that everything was ready to be presented. The next item on the was our budget. We had $3,184 approximately remaining. And so we made some purchases that evening, including the $1,000 that was set aside for the utility wrap that is going to be going up down here on the corner. The title of that artwork is Jerseys and Jerseys. It's in our book. And then, let's see, we had a third utility, so we have two utility box ones, and then a third utility box wrap for 2020. Let me see if I can get this straight. We had one remaining for this year, one for the following year, and then one for the next year. Is that right, Laura? 2025?
I think.
Two for
we
2025.
used part of that remaining money to buy one more, and two had already been planned.
Okay, so we voted on those to approve those. And then we continued to look at other artwork that was submitted over the last year for possible purchases. Deborah Cisco recused herself from voting because she has artwork included in the packet, which we did indeed purchase. So the artwork was 7 different pieces, and I can read the titles to you, or I don't have the, I have them, but I don't know if you've looked at them, but you'll see them. The one piece, 2 pieces, Into the Wilderness and Enchanted Forest by artist Gary Halastals. The commission chose coastal forest in Oregon and white flowers, blue sky, referred to as Blue Summer Daisies by artist Deborah Sisko. Also, 3 pieces, Unity and Diversity, Move Out of the Box and Rise and Shine by artist Joel Nichols. Those pieces by Joel will be set in this center panel, and we'll be moving the dogs over here. So we'll have, the whole chamber is filled with artwork. Then Don stepped out of the meeting and called artist Joe Nichols to see if he would agree to sell the 3 art pieces that the commission chose for $1,900 rather than the listed amount of $2,100, and he agreed to that. And that is all I have.
Okay.
Any other questions on that?
Any questions? So I've got one on the wraps, the utility box wraps. So it sounds like this is going to be a multi-year program. And is there a sense of how many how many boxes are we talking about eventually? Or have you planned that far ahead to kind of pace out what this would entail?
Yeah, I think we aligned them with the stoplights, and there were 12 total?
As much as 15 or 16.
Yeah, considering the expansion down River Road or something. So I think at this point, we have 3 planned with more coming, right?
The stoplights on River.
Thank you, okay.
So, yep, Madam Mayor and Council, we'll have 3 that were funded out of the last year's budget. And then 2, they've already selected for the 24-25 budget in the plan. Plan is to do 2 each year, but they could elect to use some of their purchasing money to do an extra one like they did the past year, so.
Okay. All right, and then are you going to do outreach to artists each time and try to solicit a variety of input or artistic, styles and so forth as you're looking at River Road? Or are you going to be looking at certain themes for portions of River Road?
Yeah, I think we were looking at themes as related to the river for the most part, although we also didn't rule out irises or different kinds of flowers. But I think the ones that we have are salmon. I think they're salmon, yeah. We have salmon, and then and then another fish one. So okay. And the cows, okay. So just like local culture, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if people want to see what these look like, they're in the packets online.
Yeah, the Jersey's one is the cows one.
Okay. Oh, Jersey cows, okay.
Yeah.
I was going jerseys, I was thinking of football
Like
jerseys,
New
like
Jersey.
Mary Seltz or something like that. Sure.
Jersey cows wearing jerseys. It's a whole postmodern thing, so.
All right, I'll have to go look at it.
There's some, yes, a cow theme going on here.
I will move along. All right, Mr. Brown.
And, yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, they made a good choice. They've been very conscious about all the locations, and so they thought with the whimsical cows on Shamawa and Verda that the jerseys would look good at the end of Shamawa at River. So it kind of tied those 2 things together.
And they're McNary blue, right? I mean.
There was some blue in there, yeah. I think it was home
Got me
jerseys,
near
so.
McNary. All right, I'll go look at it, but thank you very much.
Here's the cows. I don't know if you can see that. And then here is another one of the fish, the one for 2025, which I really like too, so.
Okay, all right.
And I will have to look into outreach because
Okay, now we'll get everybody, yeah. But it's going to be one of those nights, yes. All of the cow jokes are now on the table.
Cow puns or?
Yes, Cowabunga,
Flopping.
Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There was a question, do businesses have an opportunity to help sponsor or help put together some of these wraps, and how would they do that?
Laura, do you have more information about what the outreach looks like? Because I'm not sure.
Actually, Mr. Brown and I talked about this today, so I don't.
Now it's going to be a tag team. And then this would be run through staff and vetted for staff before it goes out to the public, correct?
No, I want.
Lori Christopher, Keizer, Oregon. So we've asked Dawn that we have an open call to artists, just an ongoing open call to artists. So any artist, all of you in fact, could submit any type of artwork to us for consideration. Yes, Robert, even you. And so if you do, it'll just become part of the portfolio. And then when we have money available to purchase additional wraps, we can go from the portfolio. So we've asked her to keep Dawn to keep them open. I've talked with Keizer Art Association, and the artists know that that's an open call to artists as something comes. But we've kind of steered them to, as Kat said, iconic symbols that relate to Keizer. So river themes, iris themes, local culture such as the cows. So anything that relates to Keizer, the committee has kind of been partial to those selections, but not, there's nothing in writing that says that's all that the committee will choose. In addition to that, anyone who would like to sponsor a wrap can do so. They cost approximately $1,000. The artist who submits the selected art receives $200, and then the rest of the packet is the packaging. And so City Manager Brown did an excellent job doing shopping and found us the best price that he could, and it's approximately $800. So we know each one of those wraps is about $1,000. We hope to do 2 a year, but if other folks and businesses included want to donate, and if they would like one, they may have a business that's close to one of these utility boxes, and they would like to sponsor that utility box, we would love to talk to you at KPAC, and we can hook you up in a New York minute and get you sponsoring that utility box close to your business.
Also, with the caveat that they can't put their logo or advertising on it.
No.
And I think that needs to be extremely clear because we have ordinances regarding that. Otherwise it becomes a billboard, and none of us love to open up the sign ordinance, do we?
They can pay for it, but the committee will select the art.
There we go. Okay, Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And in our discussion with Mr. Brown and I, it's most of these utility boxes are owned by entities that have said that they don't want them. Some of the local utilities, Comcast, those kinds of things. So we're hoping that as these proliferate, the people will be more amenable to them. But it's not just the businesses can't just say, hey, I want this. They have to work with the utility who actually owns and operates the boxes in order for that to happen. So, so it's a nascent effort, but we are hoping that it proliferates and grows.
So the utilities that owns the boxes that these will go on is who?
Salem.
So, Madam Mayor, Council, the utility box we're wrapping right now are the traffic control boxes, which
Gotcha.
are owned by the city of the Keizer. We have a contract with Salem who operates them and fixes them for us, but we own these
them.
boxes.
Okay.
And they're
They're
nice, big boxes.
Yes, they
So
are.
they'll show a lot of art. And I had an opportunity to talk with Salem Electric today, and I'll tell you, the game changer was the city manager bringing those wraps in, because the concern was painting the boxes, actually painting them with paint and then having to redo that. If for any reason they had to be removed, and then reprinted. So I really think that was wise on behalf of the city manager. And it makes a big difference. And I think that that's what will happen. As these start to roll out, people will really like them. And they'll want to sponsor them. Perhaps the Chamber of Commerce.
Always an opportunity. All right. Any other questions on the wraps? I'm sorry, Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you look at a lot of the utility boxes, several of them have been tagged. And so I'm just going to ask, if they are tagged, how washable are these, or what's your research on how that works?
Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Councilor Kohler and Council. They use a material that's Scotch guarded, and the tagging should come off pretty easily without having to reprint it.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? Thank you.
Okay, good job.
No, yeah, I need actual water. Yeah, sorry, I'm battling a frog in my throat. Thank you so much. And thank you, Council President Starr. Next up for committee reports, we have Traffic Safety Bike Ped. Mr. Myers, come on down.
Mayor Clark and city council members, thank you. I'm here to give a report on the Keizer Traffic Safety Committee and bicycles. I always forget the bicycles. I had 92 PowerPoint slides, but I talked to Chief Copeland and he said to keep it brief. So, yeah. We are in the midst of revising the neighborhood traffic management plan. And we should have that completed relatively soon. Agenda items include a running project list. Most of these items are citizen concerns that come and talk to us. We review assigned board members for investigation and address and resolve items every month. I made a copy of, I guess I'm allowed to approach.
If you give it to Ms. Bissett.
Yeah, it's all the same. They're all pretty same copies, just to show you what we're doing. Anyway, traffic committee members take those issues on and then report back. And so we feel that we're addressing citizen concerns and making progress there. Last month, right, committee amendment resolution highlights. We adopted Robert's Rule of Order and to include the Oregon meeting laws. 75% attendance per year is required by our members, and members may be removed by 2/3 majority vote of the city council. So those are the highlights from last month, and as a new member of the committee, I'm happy to help. So any questions? Unless you want to see the slides.
Thank you very much. Councilor Houseman.
Council President Starr raised her hand first. I'll defer to her.
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So is this just a sample of the spreadsheet? So just making sure this isn't all encompassing.
Right, it's a sample of the spreadsheet. There's about, typically there's about 5 pages of different issues, and we add them and take them off as we go.
Thank you. This looks great.
Councilor Houseman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to enhance, Mr. Myers, thanks so much for coming in and presenting. Last meeting also, Beth Schmidt from Safe Routes to School, coordinator for the Salem Keizer Public Schools, came by and approached the committee, and I thought that was a good conversation. I hope that the rest of the committee members felt similarly. I didn't get to interface with everybody after, but I know Beth is feeling very positively, and we did receive the good news recently as a body public that Safe Routes to School has one other paid position coming through as a result of grant funding. Am I stating that correctly, Madam Mayor?
That is correct.
Okay.
Oregon Department of Transportation did award our Safe Routes to School program, which is a district-wide program. For folks who aren't familiar with the change, what has happened is, used to be school by school. That changed several years ago, and now we have a coordinator, Beth Schmidt, who is housed at the Willamette Valley Council of Governments. And the grant will now pay for taking the second person, Tanya, from part-time to full-time to be able to offer more programming at all the schools in Salem Keizer. And they've done a magnificent job with many different programs and partnerships with Cycle Oregon, with Chariots, and with other organizations for walking, rolling, biking, teaching kids how to ride bikes. Things like that at many schools, and they're reaching out to all the PE teachers now, getting ready for the fall, to be able to add even more programming. And since we're on the subject, do you want to promote this?
Yeah, we can. The Go by Bike map for cycling around Salem Keizer, a map which includes not just City of Keizer streets, but City of Salem streets as well, all the way out down south for anybody interested in going to Talbot or the Buena Vista Ferry. Very fun bike ride. But it's simply a wonderful opportunity for TSBP. I'm glad that dialogue got started. It's probably going to manifest in projects much later on down the road, especially now that the list has been created by Chair Saldivar and is getting sharpened by the members of the committee. I really appreciate what you guys are doing with it. It's wonderful stuff, truly. So nothing but positive things overall. A lot of good long-term developments out of the last meeting, I feel.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you all are doing. Much appreciated. Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association, Tammy Coons.
Hello, Tammy Kunz, Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association, Keizer, Oregon. Just a quick update. Some of what we've been able to get done this year, is we have, had several different board meetings out in the community, which has enabled more people to attend. We found that if we meet them where they're at, they will come. So we've been enjoying our parks, Claggett Creek, Chambers, and Northview Terrace are three of the parks that we have hosted meetings at for the board, as well as Starbucks and just getting out in the community. So far, we have done outreach for several different things. The crime reduction for one of our committees that we formed, we have 6 new members that have joined that team. Welcoming committee, we have 5 members on that one. Neighborhood Association Events Committee, we have 12, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
So that is enabling us to get a lot more done in the community and be a lot more active and just kind of be seen. We have every 2 months, we do our newsletter now and have 345 people who receive our newsletter through email. And Jackie and I deliver 65 by hand on average every time we put a new one out. We have created a Zoom account to host Zoom meetings. The collaborative meetings now for the community cafes will be through Zoom as well. I was able to get some support hooking that up today. Our next community cafe is September 3rd. Hope y'all can come and attend. We partnered with the neighborhood associations for the last one, as well as the neighborhood family councils. And our upcoming events are back to school event, August 23rd. Fun Friday for Keizer is July 19th. And Community Cafe is September 3rd. And we already have our guest speaker and starting to set all that up.
Outstanding. Yeah, I saw the notification for the community cafe, got it in my calendar. Thank you so much. Any questions for Ms. Kunz on the tremendous work of Greater Northeast Keizer? Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's all I have signed up for committee reports. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Let's go then to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearings this evening. So we do have one item of written comment, which is submitted by several members of the Keizer community. And it was listed as an official petition to council members to support quality of life policing methods and reciting a national movement on cutting back quality of life policing. And this was signed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 members of our community. And I would love to converse with any of the people who signed this to know if there are specific things they're looking for. I am pleased that, thanks to tremendous work by our police chief, our city manager, executive leadership team, and our budget committee, that our Keizer police are fully staffed, funded for full staffing. Also are in the process of purchasing body cams, license plate readers, and cameras for our parks, all of which are directed to and requested by both the community and by our police to enhance public safety in Keizer. So to the people who signed this, please be assured, and please reach out to us with any questions you have about how we fund public safety in Keizer. We do put the money where it really counts for police services. So I want to acknowledge that. I don't have anybody signed up. Ms. Kunz, I know you want to address the, under the Community Development, Community Diversity Engagement Committee. Counselors, would you be all right with having her address us just before that agenda item, rather than now? Okay, so if you would stand by on that, I will have you come up when we get to item H, 8H, which will address that. Anybody else would like to address the council at this time? Okay. We'll then move on to administrative action. Item 8A, which is a resolution authorizing the finance director to enter into engagement letter with Piper Sandler and Company. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, in conjunction with resolving the Oregon Public Employee Retirement System PERS Tier 1 and Tier 2 reporting, which is to include the employer 457 deferred compensation contribution amounts as subject salary. The next two administrative items are going to be a similar story. One, we need to retain the services of a placement agent, and that is Piper Sandler and Co. This firm is basically the folks that go out and will market the debt that we're going to be offering to try to get us the best interest rate available and best terms available. The second piece is the second administrative action item relates to the bond counsel. And for that, it's Delafield, Hawkins, and Wood. Both of these groups we've used in the past. They helped us with the 2018 Dearborn Bridge loan that we received. The combination of these two folks saved us enough in interest from us just going to the bank to the services that they provided, that the city was able to get about a 1% interest savings, as well as pay off their fees in the process. So it's well worth our time to retain the services of both the placement agent and bond counsel. Both of these groups, in accordance with Oregon Revised Statute 279A.025, are really exempt from the public procurement process, meaning we can do our due diligence by asking around, getting references, referrals, that kind of thing, but we're not required to go through a formal RFP type of process. This is specific exemption is related to any contract related to issuing debt. So with that, Piper does specialize in governmental agencies, nonprofits, and financial institutions. They have done this work for us in the past. With respect to the Piper engagement letter, the engagement letter can be terminated at any time by either side. However, having said that, we've had a good relationship with them for the past debt financing that we've done. They are registered with the Oregon Secretary of State Corporate Division, so we've gone through that process as well to make sure that they're valid and able to work within the state of Oregon. Typically, with a placement agent, the fee is roughly about 1% of the loan offering, and that's consistent with what we would be expecting to pay. With respect to timing of the ultimate debt offering, we are looking at probably the first half of 24-25, so that way we can get the PERS issue resolved and behind us. And with that, I'd be free to address any questions.
Thank you very much. Questions? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, if we were to not adopt this today and go through the public contracting or doing, what you said, calling around, how much of a delay would that add on to bringing this to a resolution?
we could bring it back at the next meeting if we wanted to. I have reached out to a few other folks. There is a small handful of people that do this type of work in Oregon, so
What was the outcome of your outreach?
about the same fee.
Same? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the finance director to enter into an engagement letter with Piper Sandler and Company.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the finance director to enter into engagement letter with Piper Sandler and Company. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Councilor Cross. Item 8B, resolution authorizing finance director to enter into engagement letter with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood LLP. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, I basically introduced this during the previous agenda item. Really, the big change, Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood have really helped us beyond just the 2018 Dearborn Bridge. They were also pretty instrumental in our 2008 Keizer Station LID. The benefit of working with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood is that they are familiar with our existing loans. They know the covenants that we're required to maintain and will ensure through their process that we don't do anything to trigger any unanticipated items with our previous debt outstanding. So consistent with that, this engagement letter can be terminated by either party with 30 days notice. This is slightly different than the placement agent, as the attorneys want to make sure that they can make sure everyone's covered before we part ways. And again, as I indicated before, the combination of the placement agent and the bond counsel were able to help us save some significant savings on our Dearborn loan. So with that, I'd be free to address any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Wood? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the finance director to enter into an engagement letter for bond counsel with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood LLP.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the finance director to enter into engagement letter for bond counsel with Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood LLP. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Councilor Cross. That takes us to item 8C, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Hicks Striping and Curbing LLC for repainting of pavement legends. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This matter was brought to Council at the last meeting and needed some clarification. I did go through everything and confirm that the proposed contract is a 2-year contract. The proposal that was sent out and received back on May 20th indicated that. Both proposals indicated pricing for the full 4-year ultimate term of the contract if the city and the contractor elect to extend it for 2 years. The pricing, as mentioned in the staff report, Hicks had the lowest price of the 3 proposals at $158,000. Oh, excuse me, that's year 2. $156,107 in year 1, as compared to $210,828 from one of the other companies, and $753,544 for the third company. As I mentioned previously, I really don't know why the price is so high from that third contractor. I was really shocked to see that. We have worked with Hicks before. They've done good work for us, and based on the scoring and our previous experience, staff recommends council award authorize the city manager to enter into the contract. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Lawyer? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, so this is educating me. This is not the dividers going down the middle of the lane that reflect, like in the rain, is it?
It is, the reflectors themselves are part of this contract.
Oh.
The stripes are not.
Right, okay,
Okay.
but the little things in between that keep us all
Yes.
in our, and theoretically keep us in our own lane. Sorry.
Yes,
Had to say that.
the items that light up very good at night with your headlights, so you can see
Oh, so
where
you
the
have to turn them
lanes
on?
are, it's preferable.
Okay, great, thank you.
But yes, part of this contract is to replace those as needed throughout the life of the
Great,
contract.
thank you. Follow up?
Follow up?
And then the opportunity for the 2-year extension, is there any risk in the pricing that's in this contract for the second 2 years of that being increased
I don't believe so, because they were required to submit that with their
as
proposal.
part of the package?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
All right. Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Hicks Striping and Curbing LLC for repainting of pavement legends.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Hicks Striping and Curbing LLC for repainting of pavement legends. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Cross. Very happy to get this work underway. Let's go to item 8D, resolution authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for Keizer Fest 2024. We'll go to, who's got this one, Mr. Brown?
I think this is Joe.
Short straw. Okay,
Am I up in the hot seat now?
You are, yeah.
okay.
Well, this is a situation
Oh, it is.
where
Yep.
you all are far more familiar with Keizer Fest than I am. And these guys, the chamber likes to put this thing on an annual basis. They have plans that we've included in this packet, the where and what that are going to be placed around Keizer Rapids Park. And part of our codes have temporary use permits, and they also have the ability for you guys to go ahead and relax and not enforce certain provisions of sound for certain reasons if you find fit. So they're asking for, a good example of this is instead of
Saturday night.
being noisy until 10 p.m. on 2 of these nights, on Friday nights and Saturday nights, they're asking to be noisy clear up until midnight.
Right.
So this is one of the things, being able to do these activities in the park and being able to then kind of seal off these areas so that other people don't come and just willy-nilly want to use these parts of the park is part of this. And then the other thing is having various use fees being waived. And so that's what they're asking for. All of those amounts are put out in here. And I know, is it Corey from
Yeah.
the chamber is here, if you have questions about that as well. I would say there is one piece of this that was internally inconsistent. There was some of the food vendors that were put near the Big Toy, and both our planning director, or excuse me, our public works director and our police chief thought that that would be less safe for some kids, and so they wanted to put those a little bit further away. So part of this says they're going to be by the Big Toy, and then one of the pages has a different area with which those same vendors are going to be. And so I would say if you're passing this, pass it with the idea that at least they have to follow the direction of our public works director and our police in the placement of those vendors.
Well, with that, unless you have questions for Mr. Lindsay, I would love to invite up the Executive Director, Corey Filardo, to tell us what is on tap for Keizer Fest 24. Always good to see you.
Good to see you all too, Madam Mayor and Council, City staff. I'm here to ask for the sign ordinance to be waived so that we can display Keizer Fest banners around the town like normal. I believe I asked for the 15th through the 13th.
Correct.
Okay. And that just says Keizer Fest, August 8th through the 11th, Keizer Rapids Park. And then additionally, there will be 2 large signs at Keizer Rapids Park, one towards Shamawa Road and one by the festival tent itself, saying that this is where Keizer Fest is. I did have a conversation with Mr. Lawyer about the vendors along the fence, and that is totally fine with us, where we don't want kids to be unsafe. So, and I think moving them to where they're in an alignment with the entire festival is better for us. So we're in agreement with that as well. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So if people want more information on Keizer Fest, they go to?
KeizerChamber.com, or they can call us or go to our Facebook page. Everything is going to happen the 8th through the 11th, with the golf tournament moved to the 16th. That way we can have an early AM shotgun instead of a late in the heat shotgun start. And it also gives more opportunity throughout the month of August to participate in city events through the Keizer Chamber. So they can call the office as well. Jill and I are there to answer all the questions that may be had.
Well, we're looking forward to the event this year, and we are looking forward to it being just even bigger as you've moved out there to that space.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
I do want to mention too that we have elected to adopt Keizer Art Walk to the Keizer Fest. That brings in the Keizer Art, Keizer Art Fair. And kind of melds it all together to give Keizer and surrounding artists an opportunity to sell their artwork and be in an art fair where some of our friends south of us have a little bit more of a higher price tag to be part of the art fair. So we want to give all artists in Oregon the opportunity to come and do that.
So, and this would be the first annual River Walk Art Fair. And I'm trying to make sure that I remember correctly, this is included in here. That's not going to be a separate application, correct?
Correct.
So this is all inclusive to add this part of the Keizer Fest being the art fair. If people want to submit for that, do they go through the chamber or the Keizer Art Association? The Keizer Art Association. I'm getting the signals from Ms. Christopher in the back. So yes, that would be go through the Keizer Art Association. And to, you'll link, is that linked from your site to the Art Association for people who would like to find out more?
If it's not already, it will be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you all for continuing to expand this in a way that I know has been on people's minds for many, many years. And glad to see it happen finally. Any other questions for Keizer Fest coming up? All right, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you
you.
being here tonight.
My pleasure.
All right, Council President Starr.
I move that Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for Keizer Fest 2024.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for Keizer Fest 2024. Discussion. Councilor Husman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lindsay, point of order, would the food truck locations pursuant to what we're voting on here require a friendly amendment in the language?
No, because both locations are actually in that's why I say it was internally inconsistent. They have two maps, one that shows where they eventually will go and one where it was initially going to go, but given the feedback of our staff. And then there's a provision that also says there's always subject to listening to police or our public works in the event that there is a dispute, so.
Amazing, thank you.
Okay.
Just wanted to get that paperwork.
Yeah.
Ms. Falardo, thank you as well for your time.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for that clarification. Councilor Duran.
So the reason there was two maps, the first one was asking the question if we could put it in that the vendors in that location, but it wasn't part of the application.
Awesome. Thank you. That helps. All right. I do have one more question, and that has to do with construction during the event. We have the the turf fields and the pickleball courts. Can you tell us how this may interface?
Well, we hopefully very well. Contractors are both aware. The contractors are both aware, is that better?
Yes, it is.
Are both fully aware of Keizer Fest and the dates and the setups. We made them aware that you might as well count on activity that entire week, starting on Monday and maybe even the week before, setup and things like that. In terms of the turf fields, I don't think there will be much of a conflict. They should be at a point where most of the work will be the parking lot work, and the fields themselves will be, I'm not going to say finished, but nearly finished. Pickleball, I was looking at that schedule this morning. That hopefully will be in a curing pattern, waiting for the concrete to cure until the surfacing for pickleball can be placed on the concrete itself. So the construction activity, if schedules hold, should be fairly minimal for both projects during the festival.
So I've got a follow-up on that one then, on concrete curing. Will there be something around to protect it from people who want to leave an indelible mark of their being there?
Well, Robert encouraged the contractor to consider putting up construction fencing. We don't require it. It's at their risk if they don't. So we'll see what they choose to do. Somehow, I think when they see the activity starting, they'll quickly decide to put up some fencing.
I think that would be a really smart move, just saying. Some people have alternative priorities when they've been enjoying life at the tent. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, when you say it's at their risk for them to decide whether or not to put up the fencing, I would assume that that's clearly stated in a contract somewhere and that the consequences to not putting it up and them taking the risk is also clearly laid out in the contract.
It is.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Awesome. Councilor Husband.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, same question for the turf fields. People like to leave their indelible mark on those too. Are they going to be able to step on the turf fields by the time Keizer Fest goes around or not? And if so, has the construction company been warned?
I don't believe so unless they go out onto Shamawa Road and come into the project that way. Coming in from the park, the fencing will still be in place. And so I'm not going to say they can't get there, but they're going to have to work at it.
We're all waiting to be surprised, I suppose. Unpleasantly surprised, perhaps.
And the fencing, I was just down there this afternoon, there's nothing flimsy about it. It's there to be very clear that none shall pass.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Also looks great. Thank you. That really helps. We have a lot of things going on. All right, anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Cross. Okay, Keizer Fest, here we go. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's go now to item 8E, which is an ordinance establishing rules of procedure for public contracting and personal services contracts, repealing ordinance number 2005-519 and ordinance number 2008-580.
And this is
Mr.
me
Lindsay.
again, and I guess I go from one of the more exciting things to talk about to one of the least exciting things to talk about.
Oh, I'm excited.
But
Long time coming.
we, if you'll recall, we had a workshop recently on this, and before that, we even had presented kind of the original idea. And the long and the short of this is that when we buy and sell goods and services or just services, or even try to do public improvements, there's all sorts of rules that we have to follow. We have our own version of our local ordinance currently that has amounts of what type of process you're gonna get if you're over certain amounts. And so there's categories, and each type of contract that you're doing has sometimes different categories. This is an attempt to try to bring more of those categories into alignment and also change a little bit with the times because of inflation, and to get a little bit more authority for our city manager to be able to do contracts that are slightly larger than he can have authority to do now, just for a bit of efficiency's sake. But what we've done as well, because in our workshop, we ran into this notion that the current authority under your ordinance for your city manager and for your directors was to anything over $25,000 had to come before the council. Now, we were given sort of that consensus and the idea that if that were raised to $50,000 contracts, then what we would do instead is we have a follow-up resolution to this that is anything over 25,000, we would still report to you, the council, so that you know what's going on, but that we wouldn't necessarily have to wait till the next meeting in order to effectuate a contract if there was some good deal out there on a car that was between, say, 25,000 and 50,000, and we had to make that purchase really fast or something like that. We wouldn't have to necessarily wait for a meeting to do it, and we could report it either through regular means of weekly reports, or even then come in at a staff report level and let you guys know that that had taken place. So still some transparency, still some reporting, but not necessarily jamming up expenditures because times have changed and things have gotten a little more expensive. So this was an attempt to allow us to have what I would call an intermediate, or what used to be called an intermediate is called informal solicitation process for a lot of our contracts. And what that means is anything between $10,000 and $150,000 for most categories, we have to go and try to get at least 3 written quotes, but we're not asking for the full RFP process until after 125 or 150,000. And what that does is it not only makes sure that we don't have to go out and specifically advertise, have a waiting period, have people apply with usually more money involved for them too. So like the applicants have to put together a bigger, sweeter looking package in order to try to sell us on that contract, and then have a committee on the back end reviewing those and scoring those, and then spending that time doing that, and then actually giving appeal processes and stuff like that. The lion's share that now becomes this middle ground where we do our due diligence and at least get 3 written quotes, but not have the full service amounts that we will over 150,000. So that's sort of the big picture. Other than that, I would just ask that we have attempted to do exactly what you were asking for as sort of a consensus in the workshop. And so it's before you today, and I would suggest, my advice would be to please pass this.
Thank you very much, and thank you for working hard to take the input from our comments in the work session. For folks who may be watching, page 103 of the packet talks about some of the other cities of our size in our area, and what their levels of expenditures are. And even going to 50,000, we're still below Woodburn, which is at 75,000. And it goes up from there, similar to what we see in state procurement as well. And just to clarify, this is for items that are budgeted. These are things that the budget committee, working from the city manager's recommended budget, has already approved. We are going to be purchasing or these goods or services, and this is the city staff doing that.
Yeah, and so anytime we're spending money, we're doing it really budgeted money to begin with, unless there's emergencies that come up. And then frankly, true emergencies, the code allows for those to just go through if it's truly emergent. So this is basically the process with which we want to be fair and get the best price out in the field, but it's doing the bidding of the budget committee, basically.
Okay. Questions or comments? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have one clarification. While this ordinance and the next resolution are together. Passing one, does it impact the other? Do we need to talk about the other before we pass this one?
You can talk about it in that if you want to tweak the amount of authority, for instance, because it really speaks to the authority. So if you don't want to actually raise the authority, you could do that in the first instance. And then in the second instance, if you didn't raise the authority, if you left it at 25,000, you wouldn't need that resolution.
Thank you.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move to adopt ordinance number 2024, an ordinance establishing rules of procedure for public contracting and personal services contracts, repealing ordinances 2005-519 and 2008-580.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance number 2024, an ordinance establishing rules of procedure for public contracting and personal services contracts, repealing ordinances 2005-519 and 2008-580. Discussion. I do want to bring up one point that I asked Mr. Brown and Mr. Lindsay and Mr. Wood about this afternoon, and that was how do we keep it from happening again, that we have a gap of time, in this case from 2008 to 2024, before taking a look at this, this ordinance. And they showed me where in this ordinance it does say that when a change, as we discussed in the work session, that when changes are made in state contracting, that, and especially if it will impact our contracting and procurement, that would then put it back on the radar to look at what does that mean for Keizer? Is there an opportunity for a conversation about should ours be updated, or did it automatically update because of references in our ordinance to state procurement law? So I just want to get that out there, that a gap this big should not happen again.
Madam Mayor, and I would just point out that that is section 5C. It's under the heading, it's on page 5 of the ordinance, 109 of the packet, and it does say mandatory review of rules. And that is the language that exists there that will mandate us looking for any changes and bringing them back to you.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. We don't want to have to do these big leaps. It's inefficient for the staff, and I think it really helps us be much more responsive. So thank you for making sure that's in there. Appreciate it. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously, one absent, that's Councilor Cross. And let's go then to item F. Mr. Lindsay, anything further on this one?
This does go together, now that you have passed an ordinance that will go into, you pass it unanimously, so it'll go into effect 30 days from now. You will want to consider whether or not you still do want to be notified of any expenditure over 25,000. And so if you do, I would suggest you pass this.
All right, thank you very much. Questions or comments on the staff report? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lindsay, just a couple things that unfortunately in my eons here on earth, I have learned that sometimes subjective language is not your friend. And so my question is, we talk about timely notification. What does that mean?
Legally speaking, it just means that we're supposed to get it to you as soon as practicable.
But like, no.
It doesn't mean before necessarily, if that's, so I can be straight up about that. Sometimes I could envision somebody coming to you at the next staff meeting and saying, oh, by the way, we made these expenses, or I could almost see if somebody were in the habit of making a weekly or every other week report, it might end up in there. If you wanted us to specifically come to you by the next staff meeting, that could easily be amended into it.
I think so. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying anybody here is going to be intentionally, you know, vague in their, what timely means.
Okay.
But that was a question I had. Does this mean before or after? And then what's the definition of in a reasonable time frame? So I would encourage that some kind of tightening of the language to narrow that language.
If I may I make a suggestion, Council President Starr? And that.
Somebody. Make one.
Okay, that once the contract is executed, because that's when it's done, that it be in the following week, update.
But so just having dialogue on that. So if you have the contract on your desk, you just haven't signed it, and you have a city council meeting, or why couldn't you notify at the city council meeting? Just, hey, heads up, we've got this contract, we're gonna sign it. I guess I'm trying to understand, kind of get some boundaries around.
I guess my understanding, and this just came out of listening to folks at the workshop, and so this is all I attempted to do was try to match what I thought was, if heretofore we're always gotten used to $25,000 being that line, it seemed like there was a few times where people were like, you mean we won't hear about any police cars being bought anymore, or we won't hear about, sort of specific things. And so this was a way of saying, well, we can notify you, and we can even put it in policy so that we have to. But the sort of part I think of this too is just, I don't know if he's going, and I pointed at Adam Brown, sorry, him. If I were in court, I'd say, let the record reflect, I pointed at Adam Brown when I said it, is that whether or not he'll be here every week to do his weekly update.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I don't know
statement.
if it'll always be him sitting in that seat, and if that person will be asked to do a weekly update. So I just sort of put together, I know it sounds subjective, but saying as soon as reasonably possible, to me says, you could have said it at that meeting, or you could have said it in your weekly update, and you didn't, so that's not as soon as reasonably possible if you let one go.
I think that's what I'm looking for, what
Okay.
you just said. It could have been you signed a contract in the next weekly update, because it may not always be right? I mean, this is about the position and about the authority, not the person. And so just I guess we can trust Adam to do that, Mr. Brown to do that and to notify us timely, but if it's, we don't address it now, and maybe Mr. Brown decides to retire to the Bahamas next year, the person,
Lucky.
I mean, I'm hopeful that lottery, but what's the protection in there that the person who comes after Mr. Brown is gonna understand that?
Well, and so I guess we could say as soon as reasonably possible, but at least within the next meeting. You see what I mean?
Perfect, yeah.
And then we could do it as amended that way.
I'm good with that, thank you.
And just a point of clarification, that we're talking about executed contracts, because if they're not signed, then they're not real yet. That means that there may be something yet to change. So rather than get ahead of it, it would be executed contracts. And I think it kind of says that, it does say, any contract entered into. And to me, that says it's been executed. Is that correct?
Yeah, and part of the speed, the only time this would come into effect, I would think, is if, say we get a car wrecked and we look around and it just so happens that there is one on sale and it's gonna go hot to the first come, first serve. And then you buy it.
lost
You know what I
leader
mean?
it.
Because a lot of times government goes kind of glacially slow. And so, oftentimes we have much more time to talk about things and all that too. So this is just sort of an allowance for that. But if I'm hearing it as soon as reasonably possible, but at least by the next council meeting.
Yeah, the next,
Yes, thank you.
like it.
And then that would be, if you passed as amended, that language would be in it.
As amended,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move to adopt resolution number R2024 as amended, policy regarding notification of council of contracts over the amount of $25,000.
As amended?
She said it.
I said that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024 as amended, policy regarding notification of council of contracts over the amount of $25,000. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously, one absent, Counselor Cross. Item G, resolution establishing the amount of sewer system development charges for wastewater treatment facilities, repealing Resolution R 2023-3397. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the city is part of an intergovernmental agency agreement with the City of Salem. City of Salem does the wastewater treatment facility for us. As part of that agreement, we agreed to charge the system development charge that the City of Salem passes for their residents. So this is related to residential housing, so new development, this would be part of the fees that they pay as part of the construction process. The fee has gone up from $375 effective last year to $393 this year. And with that, I would be free to address any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the assistance development charge? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, establishing the amount of the sewer system development charge for wastewater treatment facilities and repealing Resolution R 2023-3397.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, establishing the amount of the sewer system development charge for wastewater treatment facilities, repealing Resolution R 2023-3397. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Counselor Cross. Item 8H is resolution amending Community Diversity Engagement Committee, amending Resolution R 2021-3225. And this goes to Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, during the June 17th, 2024 City Council meeting, staff was directed to prepare a resolution changing the appointment process for the Community Diversity Engagement Committee to be consistent with the other city committees. The change is to move from a councilor-appointed process to utilizing the Volunteer Coordinating Committee for appointments, with the change effective as existing CDEC member terms expire or become vacant. The change in appointment process would also require amending the council rules of procedures that call that a separate process for the CDEC. Included in the staff report is also a listing of the current appointments and their expiration dates. At this point, we do have an open spot. So depending on how council feels, you may want to adjust the timing to either allow the current appointment process to happen or to move immediately to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. With that, I'd be free to address any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Wood? At this time, I would like to invite up Tammy Kunz, who would like to speak to this issue.
Hello, everybody. Tammy Kunz again, Keizer. I kind of expected a little bit more in here, after talking to Stephanie today. There's a couple of concerns, and they would like me to request a work session, while I'm here. With this, everybody is on board with bringing it to the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, but one of the things that I guess a few of us thought would be part of this process is the questions and stuff that we came up with, and having a little bit more data in this part of the process.
Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, as was discussed at the last meeting, the idea of bringing the questions for the VCC committee, the council deflected that to a work session, so that's where that is currently residing.
Mr. Wood's correct. So council directed that this be split into two decisions. One was for the appointment process, and then the other was going to look at the development of questions.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of discussion around, are there specific questions that may be appropriate for not just this committee, but other committees to assist the volunteer coordinating committee in asking questions relative to the committees, such as planning, budget, as well as this one. So it was a larger conversation, and I'd ask city councilors to reflect on that if there was something more to it. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what's happening is this is becoming choppy is the only way that the only word I can think of to describe tonight. It's this process and these recommendations, it's becoming choppy. And so in talking to my appointee, which is Ms. Kunz, she expected there, as based on the conversation from CDC, and correct me if I'm wrong, her interpretation of what would be coming as a result of the CDEC recommendation to City Council. I know we talked about questions becoming a larger part of VCC and what they're asking the different committees. I just am going to, if Tammy, and I don't know if anybody else has talked to their appointee or not, but I would, if you mentioned speaking to Ms. Cross, if we have some concerns from the people that are on the committee, I think that it would be wise and prudent of us to kind of slow the process down a little bit and heed the request for a work session with CDEC to make sure that that we're hearing what they're wanting from the committee as a whole. I know that we heard from the chair last meeting, but I'm hearing from another member of the committee that there was the expectation maybe just for this process to be a little different, or there to be more information ready for us to vote on. So that's just my thing. I would like to see us kind of.
So one of the concerns is by doing this tonight, a couple of us are concerned that we do have open positions available and they are going to get filled. Is it going to be before or after we have a chance to get together with City Council?
Point.
And is stuff going to get lost in between now and then? Because what we do is really, really important with our engagement in the community, with our engagement with one another, with how we support council. And we just don't want that to get lost. All while we're teamed up, putting a bigger framework together for collaborating and defining all of the other items that we're working on. And that's one of the main concerns.
So thank you very much. And no, I haven't talked to my representative, but what I'm hearing is that there may be support for tabling this and calling for a work session. So that is an option for council to consider. I'm going to go to Councilor Husband and Councilor Duran.
Defer to Councilor Duran.
Councilor Duran?
So I did speak with my appointee, and she was under the impression that we were going to have more information in the packet before we made this decision, because I asked her some questions. She said, I thought that was supposed to be in there. So that was a conversation that I believe that Stephanie Cross and
Okay.
Tammy had talked about
Okay.
since I discussed it.
And just so people at home know, your appointee is?
Stephanie Cross.
Thank you. Councilor Husband.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tammy, did you talk to my appointee about this, who for the record is Chair Thais Rodick?
No.
Okay. Because Thais has not brought that up with me. So in the interest of full transparency, this part of the discussion is not something we've had talks about. We had talks about the issue prior, but
Right.
not necessarily this. So I'm kind of in a pickle, right? As far as I want to be respectful to my appointee, obviously, and I want to be respectful to
Right.
the CDC. Tammy, please walk with me through. We have the power, I believe, to put a motion on the table tonight to allow an appointee to fill the vacant position through the volunteer coordinating committee. Please indulge me in the thought exercise. What do you think the pitfalls would be there?
Looking at it from the outside, because I have to use a different lens in this case. We are working really hard on creating the framework for this committee, as well as trying to transition everything in a specific order so that it's smooth and there's no hiccups in between. One of the things that we've dealt with is a lot of turnover, and we're trying to avoid that by getting this part of the process right so that we don't have the turnover and so that we can be productive and do what it is we are all appointed to do.
Quick follow-up, I'm sorry.
Go to
But-
Counselor Reed.
Thank you. By this part of the process, you do mean the interview questions. You want to?
It's not just about the interview questions, it's about doing it in a way that the transition would be smoother for everybody. Because I voted for this part of the process so that there was more consistency with all the groups, so that we all are on the same page. We're all working from the same.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, one more point of clarification, Tammy. I don't mean to hit you. This part.
Oh, you're fine.
This part of the process, could you clarify what that means?
This part of the process, when we sign up to do anything on a committee and submit our, in this case, it was, I sent a letter, but in most cases, we fill out a little bit of a questionnaire and say, this is why we're interested in doing this, this, and this. That process needs to be consistent for this committee to function and do what it is we're all appointed to do and to serve city council.
I follow you. Thank you so much. Councilor Reed, I apologize.
Your turn.
Yeah. Good?
I'm through, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, as Council President Starrs pointed out, this is really a two-part question, and that could be a good thing or it could be a too choppy thing. And so we have to kind of figure out where we're going with this, because if we were going to do a work session, really the material point in the work session that I'm understanding is to talk about the process of the questions that we would like to see addressed, which also involves the question of, do the other committees want to have specific questions that they want to address? So it's part of that larger conversation. So if we're going to do a work session, I would say that, you know, that it would be more appropriate to have at least the chairs or representatives of each committee come to talk about that particular issue as part of the work session. And, you know, whether it's a good idea now to talk about or, you know, to vote on the VCC or not VCC, I'm okay with that, but it's a whole look at the process of all committees.
So if I may, and then I'll go to Council President Starr, one option also is if there is if the majority of us believe that changing over to the VCC process, Volunteer Coordinating Committee process, is something that we want to do for consistency, we can pass this and put an effective date later this year or after completion of a follow-up regarding additional process with the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, and if we want to introduce questions. But I think that settling this issue could be a good thing, again, moving toward that consistency across the committees and letting people know that this is a direction that we are going to go. So I want to put that out there for us to consider as we're thinking about this before we put a motion on the table. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what Ms. Kunz is also talking about is the process and the framework to meet the charge of engagement, right? And reaching and bringing different, broadening our reach of who we're bringing forward to participate and volunteer their time to participate in the committees. So I am appreciative of Ms. Kunz coming and bringing this forward, and I would encourage us to consider the request for I think being intentional and eliminating as much choppiness as we can in this process and doing the work session, whether that's bringing all the chairs together or the representatives to have the conversation and make sure we're looking at all the things that members of our engagement committee thought we would be considering at this point. So I'm in favor of a work session first, as requested.
Thank you. Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have the chair of the VCC here tonight with us, as I recall.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but someone who could speak as a representative. So if they're willing to
Well,
I don't think
come and take.
putting them on the spot like that.
It is putting them on the spot, that's true, but at the same time, we're putting the VCC on the spot anyway by dint of council edict. So it would be interesting to know if VCC has considered this at any point.
so I appreciate the question, and no, I'm not going to put her on the spot, but they have had conversations about what would this look like. They're having meetings where they have talked about how is the VCC process going to continue to evolve and improve. Earlier this year, it was late last year, actually, we adopted, I know, it all runs together, a wholesale redo and update of our volunteer coordinating committee processes for clarity. So there are a lot of work has been done, and this, I think, is that next evolutionary step, and to have that conversation. So rather than ask for one representative to try to speak to the group without having had that full conversation, I think that what I would rather do is, if we're going to do a work session, allow people to have a framework in which they can prepare their thoughts, consult with their committee, and then bring those together. So that would be that's the direction that I believe we are going to go tonight.
I do understand, Madam Mayor. And in the interest of full disclosure, I've not spoken with my VCC appointee about how this might shake out. You understand why I ask, though, or
Well,
I'm simply looking to bring as much information to the table as I can on this at this point.
Thank you. I think that's the direction we'll go tonight. So there's the consideration for us is whether we're going to go ahead with a resolution to take the first step, which would be to make the CDEC consistent with other committees. And we could make a caveat or to put an effective date later on, or we can table the whole thing and come back with it in one or two resolutions. And that would leave the CEDC under the same process it has now. So the vacancy that is currently on there would be filled by the council position assigned to it. I'm going to be having to look ahead for a youth member because that is the mayor's appointee. So we wouldn't be making any changes and at this point, and probably for a few months. Is that going to be a problem? No.
Not for me.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not taking a step is going to hang up the bigger process.
No, as far as the framework is concerned, at our last meeting, we paired up and everybody has their own items that they're working on to bring back to our next meeting, which is next month. So I don't really foresee any major issues at all.
Okay.
Other than we do have an opening available. Sorry, Dan.
Okay. So with that, unless somebody wants to put a motion on the table for us to consider, Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do so move that the City Council adopt Resolution 2024 amending Community Diversity Engagement Committee and amending Resolution R20213225. Joe, did I botch that?
No, you got it.
No. And I'm not sure, it's your motion, but I would remind too, whether or not there was a date certain you wanted to pass to, or whether or not you wanted it to be immediate upon passage. Because as it's written, it'll be immediate.
I understand.
Okay.
As written. I move as written.
Looking for a second? Motion dies for lack of second. What I would like to do at this point is, Mr. Lindsay, is it called tabling or simply that? Yeah, so this, is it a motion? I don't do this very often.
You could move to table it and bring it back, or you could just, it is tabled by the fact that nobody is doing anything. You can move on to the next matter.
Okay.
And we could just bring it back at some other time.
So at this point, what I'd like to do is, under agenda input, we will discuss scheduling a work session on this matter. So this is going to drop down to agenda item 13 for that conversation. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy.
And let's go then to item 8I, which is resolution authorizing the city manager and public works director to sign 2024-2027 collective bargaining agreement with Laborers International Union of North America, Oregon Southern Idaho District Council Local 737. Mr. Pina.
Is that long enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Madam Mayor and Council, the city's collective bargaining agreement with Liona Local 737 is set to expire yesterday. A new 3 years collective bargaining agreement has been agreed upon with Liona. The agreement's attached with the resolution, provides for the city manager and public works director authorization to sign a memorandum of understanding without additional council authorization except for amendments relating to wages, benefits, budgetary matters, or job classifications that have not been budgeted for by the council. An additional exception is provided for individual new hire, vacation and sick leave bank and/or accruals. The background is that we began bargaining with Liuna on March 5th. And following about 3 formal meetings with them, we came to a tentative agreement and met with the executive leadership team and then the city council in exec session on May 6th. We again met with the council on June 17th after approximately 9 email exchanges with Liuna to further define one last item of discussion. And we now have in front of you the city council discussed elements of the proposal from the executive session, which Liuna has now confirmed that they will sign off on. So at this point, we do have the formal agreement with a financial impact of approximately $15,000 in excess of the current 2024-25 adopted budget, and that'll be spread across the general fund, parks, street fund, water fund, and stormwater fund. So at this point, the staff recommends that the city council adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager and public works director to sign the attached 24-27 collective bargaining agreement with Liuna Local 737. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report or the collective bargaining agreement? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the city manager and public works director to sign the attached 2024 through 2027 collective bargaining agreement with the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 737.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the city manager and public works director to sign the attached 2024-2027 collective bargaining agreement with the Laborers International Union of North America, Local 737. Any further discussion? All in favor signify, I'm sorry. I'm glad you got my attention. Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. How many employees does this affect?
Mr. Lawyer?
20, no.
Mr. Lawyer?
Do you have the number?
Fast math.
I'm going to say 17. And I'm not 100% positive that's completely accurate, but it's close.
Follow-up.
Follow-up.
So on an annual basis, then we're really talking about a fiscal impact of just over $1,000 a person. Thank you.
Average, yes.
Per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
Annual.
Yeah.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Counselor Cross. Thank you all who have been involved in reaching this agreement with our valued employees. Thank you. That takes us then to the consent calendar. Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Items for tonight include item A, resolution, certification of delinquent sewer accounts. Item B, approval of the May 16th, 2024 joint meeting minutes of the City of Keizer, City of Salem, and Marion County. And item C, approval of the June 3rd, 2024 regular session minutes. Item D, approval of the June 10th, 2024 work session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Seeing none, Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar as read.
Second?
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously, one absent, Counselor Cross. Other business, this time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new oral matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, does staff have any additional items to bring forward this evening?
Not items, on the next one, announcements, I'll
Okay,
catch you.
so we now have a teaser for coming up under staff updates. Fantastic. Any council members, are there any items of other business to bring forward tonight? All right, the suspense is killing us. Mr. Brown?
The fireworks, we're wishing everybody a happy 4th of July this week. And we did get a message out that was unclear and incorrect. So to make it clear, the residents are allowed to use fireworks up until midnight on the July 4th, and so I think we had previously said that it would go to the next day, but after reviewing the ordinance, it is till midnight. Enjoy your fireworks till then. Be safe. Doesn't look like we'll be under a red flag warning this week, like we hit last year. But so enjoy yourself, but be safe. And Chief may have more counsel about fireworks, but that's the laws that we hope everybody follows this year.
All right, and the legal ones and the illegal ones are not legal anytime, period. Chief?
Madam Mayor, City Council, thank you. We do have a couple updates from the police department. We had a awesome ceremony on Friday at 12:30 at Salem Police Department, celebrating 5 of our cadets that went through a recent cadet week, full day training, and they all passed with flying colors, so we're happy to have them. One of them being our beloved Bailey lawyer. She was awesome and always is, and then a couple other really, really great cadets we brought on. So we have a total of 10 cadets, in case you didn't know. And we've hired I shouldn't say a lot, we've hired several cadets out of that program. So we hope to recruit and retain some of those. Lieutenant Hine attended it was kind of a carnival thing on Candlewood, the church right there on Cherry Avenue in Candlewood on Friday night, and he enjoyed himself. We are going to attend the Family Fun Night. We did that last year, and we actually did 2 of them last year, and it was awesome. So anyways, this year we're going to go back there armed with a bunch of people and prizes and fun stuff to give away and some games. I didn't know if you knew this, but July 4th is coming up on Thursday. It's kind of a big deal for us because we get about 1,000 calls between now and then for fireworks. Probably not that many, but we get hundreds, it seems like. On the 3rd and 4th, we will have 2 dedicated officers to just respond to firework calls. So we'll see how that goes. I'll report back during the next meeting to let you guys know how we did and what the calls were like and kind of how the town, you guys will know if you sit outside your house, you know how the town goes. Usually sounds pretty crazy. But we'll try and do our best to get to most of those. I didn't know if you knew this, but Bill is a lifesaver. He saved my life tonight. It was 76 degrees in the council chambers when the meeting was starting, and I started to get like this rush of sweat under my vest, and he made one quick phone call, and Batman came and rescued all of us. Thank you, Dan Collingham, and turned the heat down to 71 degrees. So, and I don't know if there's comment in the back, but I didn't hear that. No, not at all.
No. It's great up here.
Wanted to real quickly discuss that quality of life letter that was sent out.
Thank you.
Our officers, a lot of us live in town here. And so those things matter to us. And so I am very thankful that we have a council and a city manager and a city staff that fully support the police department so that we are fully funded. Now it's just a matter of hiring, and getting the folks on. But we do pay attention to those things, and we encourage people to call if those things start to affect neighborhoods and that kind of stuff. And our officers are very responsive to those things. And we never plan on not enforcing the law around those things because it does, it's like the broken window theory. Broken window side of the car, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse. So try to clean it up as fast as we can. And a big shout out, I just learned this today by text as she was driving home from work. Today is Detective Carrie Anderson's 30th work anniversary.
Whoa.
So she got hired on in 1994 by then Chief Stoll, and then worked for Chief Adams, Chief Teague, and now for me. So she is a gem within the community and the police department. She is one of our 2 school detectives throughout all of Marion County. There's only 2. We own both of them. And they love her. And she has blessed this community, the entire city and county. So anyways, big kudos to her.
That's fantastic. And happy work anniversary to Carrie Anderson. That is great news. I'm going to circle back to Ms. DePina. If you have anything further tonight as a staff update.
No real update, just happy 4th of July, y'all.
All right, thank you very much. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
How's HRIS coming along?
We are so excited. It is a significant amount of work, but we've passed the first threshold and loaded a lot of our information, and it's now on the vendor's lap for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to be jumping back in again. We are on target right now for our test runs in September and initial implementation in October.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brown, anything further? Okay, Mr. Wood?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Bissett?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Chief, and I'll go to Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple things. First of all, Happy New Year to Mr. Wood. It's the first day of a new fiscal year. Oh. Happy New Year. The other thing is the splash fountain will operate on the 4th, normal hours, noon to 7. I know the forecast is going to be more than 75 degrees, so barring equipment failures, it will be open for use. That's it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Mr. Witham?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
All right, Mr. Lindsay?
I would give a shout out to my legal assistant who turned Keizer 15 because she was brought in-house when this building was made. And so before that, she was working for the firm that represented us for many years prior, but she's a Keizer permitted driver, I guess, at this point. And that happened this last week. So happy to have her. She's very, very helpful.
Yes.
Her name is Tammy Harms.
Happy work anniversary to Tammy Harms. Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lindsay, just congratulations on fully moving into your office this last week.
He was worried about decorating.
I can't wait to come back and see it. All right, there's another teaser. Fantastic. Let's go then to our council member reports. I'll start with Councilor Duran.
I have nothing tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Just want to congratulate our outgoing Rotary President, Joe Egley, and our incoming President was celebrated at the Rotary installation dinner on last Thursday night. And just also had an enjoyable time connecting with and serving at the food bank. So just appreciate the late Tony Grove and all he did to support the food bank. So,
All right, thank you very much. Counselor Kohler.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a couple of items. Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting was held on the 19th. Shane Witham, our planning director, came. And what is a zone today? So we talked about all kinds of zoning things and how that works and how it doesn't work and what a mess that is for him. Thank you, Shane, for all the work that you do there. We talked a little bit about neighborhood night out. In fact, I got a phone call from a homeowners association that is not a neighborhood association, but a homeowners association. And they had called me earlier and said, hey, I haven't been able to log on and register for the neighborhood night out. And they called me today and said, wow, it was so easy to get on and get that done. So thank you for making that happen after we're talking about it 2 weeks ago. So they're already excited about doing that. The City of Salem Wastewater Stormwater Task Force meeting, I caught part of that. I was out of town, but it was Zoom, so Mr. Wood was there and I caught part of that. So real exciting stuff about wastewater, tasteful. Okay, so.
It's a pass-through.
The tool, ooh, it could be a blast. Okay, so 621, Make Music Salem.
Because we can.
Make Music Salem was a pretty exciting event. We had a couple of musicians from the Keizer area that participated in that, so it was a fun thing. On the 26th, although I was out of town, the Keizer Community Dinner had a dinner that night. They served 195 people. A special thank you to Kathy Clark for washing the dishes for me. And
I'm multi-purpose.
normally I get to do that, or I have somebody do that for me, and I was out of town. I appreciate her stepping in and taking care of that. And everybody have a safe 4th of July for all the people and pets. And I'm gonna be out of town on July 8th. There's a Keizer United meeting that noon. If there's somebody that would like to take that for me, I'd appreciate it.
You got it?
no, never mind.
Okay, everybody between now and, check your calendars and see if we can get somebody there to Keizer United. Thank you for the heads up. Whoops.
What day is that again?
It's,
July 8th.
Yeah, next Monday night, or next Monday noon, correct? And it's
Yes,
here,
in this building.
yeah. So, you got it?
I'm
Thank you.
gone too.
Oh, you're gone too. Oh, that's right, both of you are not here for the work session.
Yep.
Okay, with that, I'll go to Counselor Hessman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think I've gotten to say this in public, so Mr. Lawyer, allow me to shine some more light on the Public Works Department. The Public Works Fair was awesome.
Yeah.
At Keizer Rapids Park. It was a really good time. Tons of people learned a lot. How many public agencies did we get out in total? At least half a dozen.
Yeah, I would say half a dozen of public agencies were there, yes, easily.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's really good. Everyone had a fantastic time. Keizer Rapids Park was humming on the day. A lot of folks in this room got to enjoy it, I know. Matt Lawyer worked the taco cart. A lot of smiles. Kids were having some fun. Salem Electric had that great display of down power wires. Shout out to them. And frankly, the Public Works Fair is something that I think we can continue to build on and take a little bit of pride in, because it's an important communication tool to help people understand how their city works. And I think everyone added a lot of levity and excitement and education to the whole experience. So frankly, if we want to be known as a city that does public works well, and I think that we do, that's something we can absolutely hang our hat on and keep up and keep building for years to come. It was a good event. We can make some stuff happen, and staff obviously did a wonderful job behind the scenes, making sure that everyone was accommodated and enjoying themselves. So appreciate the work the Public Works did on that.
Thank you. I'll share that with the staff. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Counselor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will add my congratulations for a successful Public Works Fair. That was lots of fun. My grandsons loved the swag. That was particularly fun for them. And just a lot of really good public information. And because, you know, stuff that you don't think to wonder about often. And it was really, really beneficial that way. Also went to the community dinner and it was lots
Shall
of fun.
we come clean on that?
Absolutely. Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency, I went to a board meeting there, and one of the major agenda items there was to pass their budget. Again, they are excellent stewards for the grants that they receive, both federal and state, for preventing and ameliorating poverty in our area. And one of the most successful of the community action agencies. And so just really impressed with them and the efforts they are making and the partnerships that they have built. I have a Heritage Foundation meeting next week that I'm going to try to make through Teams. So I don't need a sub for that, but I will need a sub for the Latino Business Alliance. Both Councilor Kohler and I will be gone for that. So we need to make sure that's covered.
So Bridge, you're out of town. I've got a scheduled conflict at the exact same time with CBEL, the Community Business Education Leadership at the REC. Either one of you available next Thursday? You're not?
I'll see. My schedule's so day-to-day right now.
Okay, so try to, and Mr. Brown will be there. Okay, so Keizer will be represented. So
Thank you
for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And I don't know when, I don't think Counselor Cross is back at that point. I'll have to check with her. Okay. Anyway, thank you all. And again, this is what we have to do is share and make sure things are covered. That's why there's 7 of us. You good?
I'm good.
All right. Just a couple of things to add. Yeah, Public Works Day, my granddaughter thought those little garbage trucks that she went home with, she had scored big. It was fantastic. I learned a lot. On the 18th, that same day, I went from there to the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments, their budget hearing and board meeting. Again, working on providing services to the Marion, Polk, and Yelm Hill County regions, and the city of Keizer benefits from many of the services that are provided through the Council of Governments. So I do represent the city on that board. On the 24th, it was a Monday, I got a chance to be a presenter for the American Legion Boys State and Girls State. Our own Tate Woodard, our now former youth counselor, was one of the leaders there for that. And the girls' state governor this year is Keizer's own Anna Sponable. So it was a fantastic opportunity to visit with delegates from across Oregon about local government and what it means to be involved and engaged with self-governance and how our systems work on a local level. I really appreciated being asked back this year. On the 25th, we had SCATS, the Salem Keizer Area Transportation Study, and the big shout out was already mentioned for staff routes to school, receiving that Department of Transportation grant to expand staffing and services that will include more of our Keizer schools as well as the Salem schools throughout the Salem Keizer School District. Great collaboration there. On the 27th, I attended the retirement for Marion County Fire Fire Marshal Paula Smith. She's worked very closely with Keizer Fire. Of course, Anne-Marie Storms was there from Keizer Fire to thank her for her leadership and her work for our region for fire prevention and fire investigations for these many years. My husband personally got to work with her when he was with Marion County Fire, and we wish her the very best and a huge thank you for her tremendous body of work at Marion County Fire 1 through her career. Also, let's see, moving down the list, on Saturday, you heard about the celebration of life and the thanks for Tony Grove. From there, I did go to the celebration of life for another longtime leader in our community, Gary Steiner. He was one of the founders of Keizer United, and of course, a tremendous leader both at Dayspring Fellowship, Also worked for years as a meter reader in Salem and did so with such grace that even though if he write you a ticket, you knew you deserved it, and he did it with a great smile and great grace. He was a veteran of the U.S. Navy, and he received honors there as well. So a shout out and a heartfelt condolences to his wife and family, and it was a beautiful celebration of our friend and brother, Gary Steiner. Coming up, we have the Council of Governments will be hosting a legislative reception at the Chemeketa Agricultural Center from 4 to 6 on August 20th. Please mark your calendars for that. This was done last year. It was a tremendous opportunity for local electeds to meet with our legislative delegation and also our congressional delegation. If they were not present, they sent staff, and it really sparked a lot of conversation and relationship building. So watch for the invitation to come out and let Melissa know if you want to attend so she can register you. There's no cost to attend, but they want a head count just for refreshments and so forth. And if you haven't been to the Chemeketa Ag Center, oh my gosh, you've got to see it. It's over off of 45th in Salem, and it is an absolutely stunning facility, both for education, but also for outreach into the community for our tremendous agricultural, economic environment. Let's see, what else is coming up? The Chamber Board Installation Luncheon is next Tuesday, the 9th of July. So again, let Ms. Bissett know if you want to attend. And with that, I would be remiss. On the 11th will be the Marion County Fair. Will begin. The Marion County Fair runs the 11th through the 14th. Support our local businesses, our local artisans, and all things local with Marion County. Enjoy the Marion County Fair. And last but not least, on the 12th, Rainmaker Day, will be the Keizer Heritage Foundation annual meeting and celebration. And everybody involved with the foundation, our community library, Art Association, Homegrown Theater, and the museum will come together to celebrate our fantastic Heritage Foundation. That is all I've got. There's a lot going on. Councilor Reed.
There is a focus on the volunteers. You know, it's not the foundation as much as the people who volunteer to make it happen. So just to clarify that.
Absolutely. It is all about the volunteers who make good things happen. Thank you so much.
Good meeting.
Yes. So with that, let's go to agenda input. I'll go through what we have on the schedule, and then we need to look at our calendars for, excuse me. Obviously, I've been a frog for the last 3 days, and this is the best I've been able to do. So thanks for all bearing with me as I've been croaking through this meeting. Next Monday, July 8th at 6 p.m., we will meet in work session, and the topic is Youth Peer Court. On Monday, the 15th, we will meet in executive session at 5:30 and the regular session at 7 p.m. On Monday, August 8th, we'll meet 7 p.m. in regular session, and we had canceled the work session for August 12th. The next council meeting after that will be the August 16th, I believe, and then 19th. August 19th. Okay, what do I have? It's August 5th. Okay, that's what threw off my math. Thank you. And that's what we do. We celebrate anniversaries, birthdays. We come to council meeting because that's what we do. Okay, so August 5th and then August 19th. So we have council meeting. So what we need to do is figure out how to address the request for a work session with the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. We can either put out some suggestions now or ask Ms. Bissett to check with the committee members and with us. We do have, just as a heads up, we do have a work session on September 9th. And that is our annual Parks Tour. We are also scheduling a work session on September 16th prior to our council meeting to go over the League of Oregon Cities legislative priority selection that the city will send in with the other 240 cities for selecting the priorities for the league to work on in the upcoming long session. So knowing that, and a lot of people traveling in August, need to get some guidelines words, council on if we want to try for something in August or to look more toward the end of September, since there are 5 Mondays in September. Of course, the first one doesn't count. Well, it does, it's just Labor Day, and we're not gonna be meeting. Preferences, August, September. Councilor Houseman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Stated preference for September, just because I think that once we run out of September, we will really start to have people scattered with the introduction of the new academic year and everybody thinking ahead to the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays.
Okay, September. Everybody's checking calendars. I'm going to concur with September. We have the
Yeah, I'm out of town on the 12th.
of August. Yeah, August, again, so you're out. Ms. Bissett, you have the spreadsheet of our availability, of course, anybody here?
Looking at September.
I think we are looking at September. Does anybody really think we can pull this off? Is there a desire for August?
No.
Okay. Scratch that, September. So we have, Mr. Pina, do we have a personal policy committee meeting in September, or is that October? Never mind, my bad, October 28th.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have the 23rd and the 30th. Should we ask Ms. Bissett to check with the CEDC members on their preference for those 2 nights?
Yes.
Does that work for, I'm looking at Councilor Duran? Yes? Councilor Kohler?
We'll do what we can.
Okay. Councilor Asman, those last 2? Councilor Reed? Okay. So, Ms. Bissett, if you would check with CEDC members for a scheduled work session either for the 23rd or the 30th of September to have this conversation. Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are we going to invite representatives of other committees at that point, or is that a later, different thing?
I think the request has been for starting, and thank you for bringing that up. I think we need to start the conversation with the CEDC and then probably schedule a follow-up with the committees on what does that look like, and then also loop in the volunteer coordinating committee at that point and get their feedback. Because they're the ones who are going to be implementing anything that we decide. So I think having a conversation with them would be prudent. So this isn't an easy one and done, check the box. This is more involved in conversation, but I think we'll end up with a better result by engaging, which is, I think, what I'm hearing from you and the rest. Okay? All right. Sounds good. Anything else on agenda input? All right. With that, the time is 9:10 and we are adjourned.